Hello and welcome back to Outside the Box, an MLS podcast. My name is Juanners.
This is Daniel.
I'm Joss.
And no Jeremy today. Jeremy is working, unfortunately. So, we're going to have to go
Free my boy.
3 out of 4 again for this week. However, Jeremy and the rest of the fellas, including myself, will be going live 30 minutes before kickoff for the massive MLS Cup final watch along. So if you're tuning into this, be sure to tune in to what will essentially be maybe not. I mean, let's plan this out. Are we gonna record after the final, or do you guys want to wrap the bow on the live stream?
Oh,
Live on air decisions being made for the listeners.
I don't know, man.
I think we could do like a 15-minute quick recording afterwards.
Oh,
I have a hard time letting go.
Yeah, well, I think in any case, this weekend should be a big one. Now that we finally have a MLS Cup final set, it'll be Inter Miami hosting the Vancouver Whitecaps. We're here. We're going to talk about the conference finals first, and then we'll preview that match. And I think, part of it's just going to have our raw takes, like, as it happens, for whoever wins. So make sure you're there either way. You're going to say something, Jess?
No, I was going to say, yeah, our raw takes they're going to be flying. They're going to be thick and fast.
I cannot wait for Josh to early predict SKC for the MLS Cup for next season. I feel like that's a free space on the bingo card. But fellas, let's start first with the dream team, the team of destiny, guys. It's the Vancouver Whitecaps, who on the road beat San Diego FC. We already knew before this one that whoever would win here would be traveling, right? And so I'm kind of glad that Vancouver is not hosting, as we saw in the semis, just how kind of rough that pitch was, and San Diego as well, to be honest. And we were spared the worst, right, of New York hosting. So I think when we look at this matchup, there's kind of a lot to say about Vancouver kind of coming in as that road dog, right? And they just did it again. They came in, they overwhelmed San Diego 3-0 by the end of the first half. And, it kind of speaks to this inexperience of being at, a semifinal. And credit where credit's due, San Diego got far. Most expansion teams, as Josh knows, don't get over that first hurdle, right? And so I'd be interested to see what you guys thought of this match. I'll go over to you, Josh.
Look, what did I think about this San Diego-Vancouver match? Well, away from the analytical side of things, because I know that that's not all that people turn into this wonderful podcast for. San Diego fans, welcome to Major League Soccer. It is heartbreaking. And I said this last episode, and I'll say it again. This is what it is, and you guys simply could not win, or else me specifically would be really mad, because this league takes more than it gives. Okay? And for San Diego this season, deservedly so, because you guys built a great roster that I completely underrated and whiffed on in my prediction. You guys were given a lot. And Anders Dreyer, Irving Lozano, Jesper Sirkov, you know who I'm talking about. Manu Dua, Hawk Dua, as some comedic geniuses have called him.
So good. So good.
They are all magnificent players that have had such a huge impact on Major League Soccer. And San Diego did great to go out and get these guys and convince them on the project to bring them in and to utilize them correctly and all these things. But you cannot win this league as an expansion team. Okay, it is a rite of passage that you need to experience some level of heartbreak. And San Diego fans, this is what it is. All right, I saw an Instagram reel from somebody who was at the San Diego game, and she was sad about the result, and that's what 90% of being a fan of a team in this league is going to be like. And it's supposed to be that way. And you come back again, okay? This San Diego FC have done great as an expansion team to draw fans in. Maybe these fans were former LAFC fans, LA Galaxy fans. It doesn't matter now. They're San Diego FC fans. And you guys had a great season, and you deserve all the plaudits that an expansion team gets, that you as a team get, because you did it really well. I'm not going to say you did it right, because I think expansion teams should come in and suck for a long time. Shout out FC Cincinnati, but you guys have done it well, and making it as far as you did is a huge accomplishment that I don't think should be overlooked. However, this is Major League Soccer, baby. Okay. And this is what happens. You don't get to be happy all the time. And I'm glad that you're experiencing the pain. So yeah, that's away from the analytical side of things. However, more so in terms of the game, I mean, Vancouver just came out guns blazing, man. And San Diego really didn't seem to at any point understand what was going on. And shout out to Brian White, a guy who has been exceptional for Vancouver for the last 2 years. He's gotten called up to the U.S. men's national team because of his exploits. And he's a guy, him, Berhalter, just guys that were utility and were pickups from within the league. And Brian White has scored twice in the semifinal, right? Was it twice? I think it was.
Yes, 2 goals.
2 goals. He scored 2 times in the semifinal to send Vancouver to their first ever MLS Cup final. This is a guy that they pick up on a free, or not on a free, but within the league. And I just love how Vancouver have done that, how Vancouver have gone out and built their team with guys, sprinkled them in, guys that understand this league and understand how it works. And I'm glad to see people like Brian White or Sebastian Berhalter get the praise that they so deserve. Because it's true. I mean, they're dogs. This Vancouver team are a bunch of dogs. And they came out and dogged San Diego real fast, kind of shut down that crowd real early. And they were 3-0 up by halftime. Now, Irving Lozano did get one back in the 60th minute, making it a little dicey at the end, especially as as San Diego pushed on. Takaoka had to make a couple of really impressive saves. And then San Diego's goalkeeper, Cisniega, gets sent off for a challenge in the open field that he shouldn't have had to make, but it was a mistake, I think, from Manu Dua, unfortunately. But overall, I don't think San Diego seemed like that team. They didn't ever seem like they were going to get something out of this. Vancouver had a game plan. Jesper Sorensen had a game plan, and boy, did it work. So good on Vancouver. You guys have done it right, and you guys deserve to be where you are.
I have a question for Daniel, because Joss kind of, alluded to it. Kind of got to suck a little bit in Major League Soccer to start. When looking at Charlotte, do you feel, I don't mean to derail into Charlotte right now, because of course I also want to bring up that Daniel had Charlotte winning the whole thing in his bracket.
I stick to my guns
and missed 2 episodes.
And
I was just ducking the inevitable. I was hoping to avoid these comments, and apparently I couldn't run from them.
Well, I want to ask you this in terms of San Diego, because Charlotte have kind of, I feel like you don't have to suck entirely. I think Charlotte are like the nice sweet middle, right? They're mid. Daniel, would you agree or disagree there?
They're upper mid, yeah, but they're mid.
See, no, I just think they're flat out mid. and
to each their own. I mean, they were top 4 of the East, but to each their own. Yeah, top 5.
It took a minute, right? It's taken a minute. This is like for San Diego. I can't help but feel like I don't think they're going away. Is that kind of a valid take here?
I think San Diego did a much better job with their roster construction, even though none of us thought that at that time. Bringing in guys like Luca De La Torre, Anders Dreyer, Irving Lozano. I mean, when Charlotte constructed their roster, it was a completely different time in Major League Soccer. It was a time where the Eric Tommies were good players. It was a time where you saw a guy like Camille Josuak come over, be successful at Derby, and you were like, oh, well, he could be successful here. Defenders here aren't very good. It was a time where a guy who's scoring 15 goals a year in the Greek league, you're like, oh, okay, Swiderski, he can come over here. He's a baller. He can figure it out. And it just didn't work out that way. I think Mikey Veras had a plan. He has a system that he likes. He knows what points of the field he wants to attack on. That's through his wingers, and he has midfielders that can make those passes out and can think quickly through presses. And I don't think Charlotte had that same mindset in mind. I really think David Tepper thought to himself when he bought that franchise, he was like, we can just go get some mid talent from Europe and figure this thing out. And that's just not how the league works anymore. Because of that, it took Charlotte 2 or 3 years just to overhaul their entire roster. Whereas San Diego was just able to step in and be competitive right away. And we were all shocked by that. We made jokes after the very first week when they beat up on the LA Galaxy, and we were like, are the LA Galaxy bad or is San Diego good? Right? You just didn't know. But it turned out they were pretty good. And something that they did all year that I don't know if they can replicate next year. I mean, I hope they can. Their roster's fun. Their roster's good. Was they won a lot of games late. And that's why Vancouver putting them away in the first half was so important, because San Diego probably stole anywhere between 18 to 21 points this season alone, just winning games in the last 10 to 15 minutes. It's just something that you don't really see often. So no, I don't think San Diego's going away. I think they got their initial roster construction down, and I think they have a coach they believe in, which is something that a lot of expansion franchises have a really hard time getting under. I mean, look at St. Louis. They fired their expansion coach the second things got hard. Now he's one of the top 5 to 7 coaches in Major League Soccer. So it's just
coach of the year, actually.
It's just a completely different vibe over there in San Diego. It really is. So no, I don't think San Diego's going away. And what San Diego does that's so impressive is if they have needs in transfer windows, they actually address them. They attack those needs. They don't double down, and they search for talent in ranks where you typically wouldn't find them. Like, where did Hawk Dua come from? We had no idea who that was in week 1. And all of a sudden he's
his first ever game, I trashed on him because he was playing midfield. And then he moves him to center back, and I, still have my reservations, but it has worked out ever since he went to center back. It's just insane.
Mikey Veras is a good enough coach that Corey Bard can start in a Western Conference final, and no one's like, what the fuck is he doing out there? It's just like, okay, well, he's got a system. It works. We'll figure it out. So, no, I don't think San Diego's going anywhere. I think San Diego's going to be very good next year. I think San Diego's biggest problem is they couldn't handle Vancouver's press. And all credit to Vancouver. Their wingers are nasty. If they're going to beat Miami this weekend, like, it's all going to come down to how they play on their wings and how they continue to press. And I think adding in Thomas Mueller this summer was huge because he cued a lot of those presses that created those turnovers for those goals. They crashed the box like crazy. Like, Brian White scored a goal because a ball landed on his chest and he just tapped it in. Like, that's just crazy. It's just people diving into the box the entire game. Like, if you're going to turn the ball over, at least have people back, which is crazy to me too. I mean, Vancouver just plays such a high line, which I'm really excited to see how that works against Miami next week, honestly. But yeah, no, San Diego's not going anywhere for sure.
Joss, are you in the same boat, or do you think they're going to go the way of Austin or St. Louis or even Atlanta after they won their first? You know what I mean? But what do you think for San Diego moving forward?
Let me take a different route than Daniel and Juan, because I think a lot of the points that you guys talk about are very valid. What I would worry about from San Diego's point of view is, and this is something that they deserve a lot of credit for, is that they never changed from their style of play throughout the year. right? It worked in that first week against the Galaxy. They have a set way that they want to play, which is they want to have the ball, they want to be dangerous. They want to play backwards to play forwards. They're going to be brave on all sides of the pitch, avoid duels, all this stuff, right? And that's usually a lot of the same things that you hear most expansion sides talk about. But then they actually get to the league and they start playing games and they realize, oh, this isn't as easy as we thought it was going to be. San Diego didn't ever really have that. I think my point here is that San Diego, as much as their style of play has been so effective, I'm wary that they become too reliant on it. It becomes someone figures it out eventually, and then San Diego try to get away from it, but they can't. We saw it with St. Louis in that second year. We saw it with Atlanta. All these expansion teams that have come in and had an initial success start fading away because they get figured out to an extent. So if I am looking at this as somebody using historical data, which for San Diego FC has not been, they have bucked any historical trends. I think that would be something that I'm weary about is, are they able to adapt their style of play as other teams sort of figure out what made them work so well this season?
I think this is a completely different game if a one Milan Alaski was still on San Diego.
Yeah.
Because I know you said and I agree. I do think San Diego got figured out, and I was a bit vocal towards the end of the season about how they had this game against San Jose that I just remember because I kept seeing just how wasteful San Jose were in front of net, but that was a game in which San Diego were just turning the ball over consistently, over and over, turn the ball over, and the Quakes just could not finish. And sure enough, two goals in the last 10 minutes of the game saved this game for San Diego. They ended up winning this game, but I made a mental note of that because I'm like, this team isn't as polished as the standings really say they are, right? And I think part of me thinks if they had just had Milan Alaski through the whole season, he was the kind of guy that was just unstoppable, on fire. Sure, maybe that XG would have eventually caught up to him, right? But it's no surprise that he went from San Diego to Philly, on the other side of the conference, right? And was still doing an immediate starting position there. So I agree with you that they got figured out, but it's also damn, you kind of need a Chucky to really be that guy. He kind of wasn't. It's that whole playoff series started with him getting kind of disciplinary issues, and for as much as you rely on the system, the players have got to step up into that moment as well, right? I want to transition. Any other San Diego thoughts, or I want to transition over to Vancouver real quickly, but
yeah, absolutely. Let's talk Vancouver.
Vancouver Whitecaps, fellas. Jesper Sorensen, just biggest coach of the year snub. I'm sorry, I do not know how you don't give him coach of the year. I found it funny that Tristan Blackman was the defender of the year, but that should just go to all of them. Everyone should cut that up into little pizza slices and get a little slice of that defensive pie player of the year. But Matthias Laborda, Ralph Priso are your starting center backs for Vancouver. That is crazy. And if you were to tell me that Vancouver Whitecaps would be in an MLS final with barely any help from Ryan Gauld in the regular season, I would have said you're crazy. And yet here they are. It's just one of those teams where, and San Diego were like this too, where a guy goes down, next guy up. And everyone plays for the larger system. Everyone presses, everyone defends. It is truly the team of destiny. I can't get enough of this team. Honestly, just not enough words to say. I didn't want to miss the boat, guys. I didn't want to miss the boat on them winning MLS Cup, and that's why I had them as my MLS Cup winners. I had them beating Cincinnati though, and against Miami, it's going to be the most monumental challenge. But fellas, thoughts on the Vancouver Whitecaps here? I'll go with Daniel first.
They played like a team who had been there before in the last year, which they have. They've been in a couple different finals and positions to win trophies these last couple years. And they played like a team who did not want to be left out again. So they feel like a team that is kind of learning their lesson and maturing at the same time, while ultimately doing it with Ralph Priso in Laborda because their defender of the year was suspended, right? I think this game really, and I mentioned it earlier, I think it really did come down to, one, how well they're able to play through their midfield, and two, their wingers. Like, they press like freaking crackheads. And that creates so much opportunity for them. And it has all year, but it's really allowed a guy like Brian White to shine. You hear all over social media, he's nothing but a poacher. He's nothing but a box crasher. But guess what? He does a really, really good job at that. And he had 2 goals in the Western Conference Final to seal this game. I do think it is an absolute luxury now that Gald's finally healthy to have him come off the bench. I'm curious to see how they utilize him against Inter Miami, because I do think he looked good for the 30 minutes he played, I believe it was. The 30 minutes he played. I think Tagaoka made some fantastic saves that, to be honest, those are chances that San Diego finishes in the regular season. And I think for some of the grief, and we've given Tagaoka, we've given him plenty of praise, and we've given him plenty of grief, as we do everybody, but he looked like the best goalkeeper between all 4 teams that played in conference finals this weekend. So I think you have a Vancouver team that's ready to show up to play. They've been there before. They have had to plan to play against Inter Miami multiple times this year, which you typically wouldn't see for an East-West team. So I think this is a team that's reared up and ready to go.
Mr. Bathtub.
Vancouver, I mean, what is there to say that hasn't been said about this team? I mean, it's remarkable, the journey that they've gone on. I mean, remember, guys, at the start of the season, they were up for sale.
Yeah.
And now they're champions, playing for a chance to win the first MLS Cup in the team's history. That is remarkable. And props to Sorensen. Juan, I think you're completely correct. He should be the coach of the year, just based on everything. I mean, the way that they competed on all fronts, winning the Canadian Championship, making it all the way to the CONCACAF Champions League final, beating an Inter Miami team on the way to that final, by the way. And now at MLS, and now in the MLS Cup final, it's unbelievable. It's completely unbelievable. And just looking at some of the quotes from the Caps players and Sorensen after the game, a lot of them are like, I think the most noticeable theme that's kind of emerged from these quotes is just all of the players they like each other a lot, and they like each other a lot. They like to play with each other, and they play for Sorensen, and just as a whole, they've been through so much, especially with the CONCACAF Champions League run, where they've just had time to bond as a team and go through some really harsh environments and come out on top, right? So this Vancouver Whitecaps team, they're mentality monsters, their quality on the ball, they've been assembled so well, so strongly. And then, I mean, even coming out and bringing in Thomas Muller, and he isn't the main. I mean, he's not even the main guy, really. As much as MLS might try to push this as a Muller versus Messi final, I think of this Whitecaps team, it's the sum of its parts, and that this next man up mentality that they've had as they've lost players to injury. Ryan Gauld hasn't played very much this season. That doesn't matter. I mean, Emmanuel Sabi, he's come in and he's been electric on that side, right? Jaden Nelson, he's been amazing. Ali Ahmed, who got, I think, 2 assists or 1 assist in this Western Conference final. Just all guys that, most other teams losing a player like Ryan Gauld would completely derail their season. But Vancouver have been assembled so smartly, and it's worked so well for them. It's massively impressive, the job that they've done. And I can't put enough emphasis on that. It's really one of the most surprising MLS Cup runs that I've ever seen in my time as a fan of the league. So just really, really, really happy for them. And I think that these Vancouver fans, they earned this. They deserve it. You know, this team has been, I mean, for a long time, the Whitecaps were really bad. They were a basement dweller in MLS. I mean, I remember watching Sporting KC beat them, I think 6-1 one time. So like to go from that to now at the summit against probably the greatest player of all time, like it's remarkable. And just props to everybody in the organization because they run it so well.
One final thing here before we move on and talk about Miami. Great points, fellas. I want to turn our attention to the back lines because, you know, I don't know any of these guys to be, you know, on big budget contracts, right? Bombino, Manu Dua, Christopher McVeigh, Ian Pilcher. And then you have on the other side Ocampo, Laporta, Ralph Priso, Tate Johnson. It's not like these guys are, you know, soaking up much salary, you know, and it's not like they're big names, you know. I think when you look at the team and you look at how both teams, really, because if there was one coach I would put above Sorensen, it would be Mikey Veras, right?
Yeah.
And you know, it's both of them got further than Carnell in the playoffs, you know, and you know, it's a shame they had to come, you know, one-on-one like this, you know, but because, you know, what does a San Diego team look like against Messi as well, you know? But all I want to highlight is those back lines. They're nothing flashy, but they're so effective. And more MLS teams need to realize that your back line's just got to function, right? You can't expect to Atlanta your way out of the issue by just buying a big budget defender, right? I look at teams like the Rapids. I look at teams like SKC, who went out and got like an Alan Montez, right? And before him, like a Joaquin, and before him, a Robert Volodare, who has now, you know, been fine enough, right? But, you know, I'm getting to a point now where the center back signings need to just, or the whole defensive back line needs to just be tidy. It needs to be effective, and it needs to function, right? And that'll allow you to bring in a guy like a Muller, or allow you to get a guy like Kubas as a DP as your main guy there. You know what I'm saying? Any other thoughts on this one, fellas? Or are we ready to talk NYC in Miami?
Yeah, I actually do have one final thought. Something that you are missing with a few different teams in the league. I'll just throw out Charlotte and Zaha, Atlanta, and I don't know, half their roster. Something that you notice with San Diego and Vancouver is that no matter what lineups they put out on either side, they are throwing out 11 absolute badge players. It doesn't matter how talented they are going out there with the same thought in mind. They're going to give it their all, and that is part of the reason why they've gotten as far as they have. And a lot of that does come down to your Mikey Verases and Jesper Sorensen kind of reeling in the house and keeping them all together for an entire season. And you felt that when you watched the San Diego Vancouver game. And if these teams are going to continue to be successful, like they're going to have to keep that, because I think that's what separates good teams from great teams in this league. Mentality
is everything, and it's kind of like this like faux pas of a word, right? But I feel like that it just comes down to coaching at the end of the day as well, right? A little bit of column A, column B. But fellas, let's switch on over to a 5-1 demolishing. And maybe it really wasn't a demolishing if you looked at the game, right? If you were watching. But Inter Miami have done it again. They have just absolutely coasted through the Eastern Conference. Off of the heels of beating Cincinnati 4-0. They dumped 5 on New York City. But one thing I want to stress in this one is it did feel like New York City had a lot more of a dog in them than Cincinnati did. And Cincinnati was at home, right? So it was insane for me to see, because right before the second goal, the third goal, was it the second goal? It might have been the second goal. The Tadeo Allende header, and I think that was the second one.
I think it was the second.
Up until that point, NYCFC were really in the game. And it was after a little heated scrum. I don't know if you guys caught this, but 20 minutes into the game, there's like a scrum between Maxi Morales and Marcelo Weigand. They both get yellow cards here, but Messi's in there and Hack is in there. And like a bunch of people are just in this scrum, and they're definitely like jawing at each other. And they are, man, we need some lip readers out there, some Spanish ones preferably, because it couldn't have been anything nice, right? It definitely not sponsor worthy for the Apple TV lords. But it was after this exchange where Tadeo Allende scores, like off of like immediately after the shithousery, right? Tadeo Allende scores. You're like, damn, NYC, that's a tough one to give up there, right? They come right back, score right before halftime. And something happened in that dressing room. I have no idea, but NYCFC just couldn't finish. They had an opportune chance from Julian Fernandez to score, and he misses his chance off a beautiful feed from Nico Fernandez Mercado. And on this one counter, Miami would go on to score, and then they go 3-1, right? And you could just feel the vibes deflating for New York City, and Miami piled it on, and 2 goals in the last 10 minutes, right, to really cap off this match, which 5-1. I look at that scoreline, and it's we're gonna look back on it very funny, like, damn, that was a semifinal match, right? But I also, as like a viewer of the game, could also see just how close New York City were to, like, not even winning, but like really hanging in there, and they gave Miami some issues. I'll be interested to hear what you guys have to say about the game. Anyone want to lead off with this one?
You want to start, Joss? You want me to go? Because I have some thoughts.
You go ahead. Yeah, you go ahead, Daniel.
I think you said it best, Juanners, when you said something happened in that locker room in the second half and they just couldn't finish their chances. I can starkly remember a moment where they pressed, what would have been on the right-hand side in Miami's, would have been NYCFC's third. Maxi Morales collects the ball off a turnover and is just wasteful with it in the 48th minute. Okay, that's one that should have been a goal. That would have made it 2-1 at the time. Miami goes around, they score, make it 3-1. Then they have another opportunity in the 77th minute where they just, I don't know what the confusion was. I don't know how the chance was bottled, but it was a relatively easy save in the end, where it just felt like they couldn't get their chances. And before I say anything more disappointing about NYCFC, because I kind of came out negative here, NYCFC absolutely deserved to be where they were in this conference final. This was a team what we were laughing about mid-season, being like, what do they do? They're baseball field merchants, and they spent most of that time hovering between the 8th seed to the 11th place on the table. And there was a time where we thought neither New York team was even going to make the playoffs. And then they turned themselves into the hottest team into the MLS, or one of them. There was one of 2 teams that in the last 10 games, they outscored everybody. It was the only teams that were hanging with them were Charlotte, LAFC, and Miami, which was absolutely insane. I mean, what a run of form they went on, which took a lot of, I don't know, it took a lot of guts, right, to get to that point. It also took a lot of Nico Fernandez to get to that point as well.
The Santi replacement. He was the
Santi
replacement, and he finally came good. I love Nico Fernandez Mercado, guys. Like, I am very tempted to get his jersey because my last name's also Fernandez. So a Fernandez 7 NYCFC kit could be in my future here, but I think that guy just changed everything for this team. Because if they didn't have him, I don't think they're winning against Philly, right? Because the biggest omission here is Alonso Martinez, who I believe tore his ACL. Is that what had happened to him?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for them to be missing Alonso Martinez and still torn ACL, for them to be in the semifinal here, it is a true testament to how good Marcao is, but also how good one Pascal Janssen is as well.
Mm-hmm.
Jensen.
Yeah, Pascal. Pascal Janssen.
But sorry to interrupt, Daniel. I know you were going as well.
No, you're good. I think where NYC went wrong in this game and where Miami was able to just take advantage of them over and over and over again was it felt like a press trigger for them was anytime Messi had the ball. And he was getting doubled the entire game regardless, but there were multiple instances where he collected the ball at the midfield line and he would get doubled and he would just instantly make the right pass. And then you have Allende floating down the field wide open on a run. You got overlapping wingers. They just took advantage of that over and over again, and it seemed to frustrate NYCFC, but they just kept doing it. I think some of that comes down to the game plan. I think some of that comes down to hoping you could just get into the best player of the opposition's head and maybe you can make something happen out of it, which didn't work out. But at the end of the day, congratulations to NYC for being in this position. I look forward to see what they're doing next year. But I just think defensively they got outplayed and outclassed in this game for sure. At least in the final, 45 to 60 minutes.
Joss?
Oh, man. I mean, yeah, NYCFC, they got unlucky to run into the juggernaut. I think, and I kind of was thinking this after their win against Philadelphia in the last round, but wins like that, wins on the road against, Philadelphia are I think they're one of the bigger rivals of NYCFC. I think as much as it could be like, something that pushes you on, I think it also, expelling that much energy, getting that result, it could really end up like throwing your season off course because you've done it, right? You're exhausted. You put all that energy into that game, and then as big of a win as it is, it's not able to propel you to that next step because of just how momentous it was. And I was afraid that would happen for NYCFC. And honestly, I think I was wrong for the most part. I think NYCFC showed up here and they were pressing intensely. If there were some better finishes, then maybe we're talking about a 5-2 game or a 5-3 even. But for the most part, I just felt like NYCFC had, especially at the end of the game, they just had the momentum from that Philadelphia game actually ended up hurting them. I think it was just too much. So it also doesn't help that they're running into Miami, and this Miami team are unbelievable. And everyone knows about Messi and his boys, and this upcoming final will be the last game for Sergio Busquets and Jordi Alba, huge contributors to that have played with Messi throughout his career. And I'm curious, to see what do they do next. Inter Miami, who do they go? Who's the next Messi guy to come over? Is it Neymar? Are we going to see Neymar join up? Are we going to I don't know? Are we going to see Martin Braithwaite, Felipe Coutinho? Guys like Antoine. Is Antoine waiting for a ring? Who knows? But I think Miami their team is built for these moments, right? And we've seen it throughout the playoffs. Every game that they've had has basically been a meat grinder for everyone coming up against them. Cincinnati, now NYCFC. Who did Miami play before that? Nashville, just a meat grinder for these teams. So Miami, we were all kind of I think that for the most part, we're not surprised by this. I think that last season, their loss to Atlanta in the first round was such a wake-up call that I think that they went into the season were like, okay, we can't do that again. We have to go out with every level. And when they lost to Seattle in Leagues Cup this year, I was like, oh, this Miami team, this might derail them. We can't have two teams that have had crushing losses in finals both succeed. But here we are at MLS Cup like 4 months later, and two teams that have lost crushing finals are competing for it.
It's gonna be so good. Oh my god, this is the stuff. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think both these teams are built for it. Both these teams have clearly shown that they're built for these moments. And to NYCFC and their credit, I did not think that they'd get this far. I even said Pascal Janssen was my pick for Coach of the Year because I didn't want to be, I'm different like that. But I'm really excited to see NYCFC in the future. If they can hold on to Fernandez, I mean, I think they will, but like bring a full preseason, and then he's able to get a full season under his belt. He was electric in these playoffs, and I'm excited to see what more he does. Justin Hack is another one that I hope that they hold on to.
Nope.
Inez, I know an ACL it's hard to come back from, and he might lose that explosiveness because we've seen it in the past, but I hope he doesn't, because he was really, really, really good for NYCFC this year. And obviously they're entering in a new era, a post David Lee era. Where did he end up at? So we'll have to see what that looks like. I think they just hired a new sporting director today or recently.
Todd Donovan. Yep. From Sacramento.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see how that goes. I think this NYCFC project is really strong, and obviously new stadium as well. So there's a lot to be happy with. And I think if I'm an NYCFC fan, I'm happy with the way that, I'm satisfied with the way the season ended. I mean, going out to this Miami team it's nothing to be ashamed of. And the way they did it, they went out and they competed, and they got huge wins against like Philadelphia in the playoffs, and they just fell short against the juggernaut that is Inter Miami. So yeah.
I think there are worse places to lose a semifinal. And so at the very least, all those traveling fans that went can at least enjoy the Miami nightlife a little bit.
True.
I really want to see Justin Hack in Rapids colors next season, guys. I need that. I think that would be everything. So that's why I kind of said no to him coming back for City. But I think the Eastern Conference, man, it provides so much during the regular season. But the playoffs, I have not enjoyed the East. It is the meat grinder, Miami, right? But when looking at the East, I think next year is even going to be more competitive. And you alluded to New York City getting their stadium. Chicago's also getting a stadium, and more. I mean, Toronto have a pretty decent project they got in a little rebuild. I don't know what Montreal's doing. Atlanta, you better believe Atlanta's not gonna let another season like that happen, right? But aside from DC and Montreal, who are really just the basement dwellers, I could see something good in every other Eastern Conference team. I think we're really close to achieving just a unreal level amount of parity. And I think when Miami leaves, we're going to get just the most balanced Eastern Conference ever. I think that's where we're headed towards, guys, because every team in the East has got something,
Yeah.
But I guess it's time to talk about Miami, right? And
I have a couple more NYCFC thoughts, actually.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm reading up a little bit about some of these, like some of the post-match thoughts, and one of them was actually talking about Justin Hack, and hopefully they've got a long contract for him available because of how good he is. And there was a quote apparently where David Lee told him last year that he's not a 34-game starter, and now he's gone out and scored against Miami in the Eastern Conference Final and started so many games for NYCFC this year. So don't expect him to be in Kansas City colors. But also with NYCFC, I mean, with Martinez out, I mean, ACL is terrible, so they're probably not. He's probably out for 9 months at least. Who do they put up top?
Marcal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and now that means you got to get a replacement for whatever his position is, because then, I mean, ideally, I want to see Malachi Jones back.
Yeah.
Because I love me some Malachi Jones. It was a shame that he had to miss a lot of the season. It's always tough coming back from a broken leg. And that's kind of, another thing, right? It's one thing to have an ACL. It's another thing to have a leg injury like that. Andres Perea, same situation there. You're going to need some midfield relief there. So NYC, I think big picture items for them is just to solidify their spine, right? Get a striker so that Marcal can play on the wing. You get a strong holding midfielder, because I like Johnny Shore, but that's not the kind of guy you want to have in a semifinal, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't know how Hack will be. I don't know if Hack will be there or not. So you're gonna have to think about that. But I mean, I don't think Thiago Martins is this like standout center back. He needs like somebody with him to like share those duties and share the workload, because I know he can't really lead the back line. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's Raul Gustavo. He's kind of the left back center back hybrid for them. I do like him a lot, but yeah, I think they got to go to striker to allow Marcal.
I agree.
Daniel, any thoughts on NYC? I know they tarnished Charlotte's winning streak.
No, I have no thoughts on NYCFC. I am very excited for the new stadium though, and I'm excited to see what they do this offseason. That's my favorite upcoming podcast that Juanners needs to plan out sometime in the next 3 months, is what moves do people need to make, and I think NYCFC is going to make some moves here to continue to build some excitement for all of the landscape defining moves financially they are making in the New York City metro area. So I think NYCFC fans have a bright future ahead of them in terms of what they can cheer for.
Another team with a lot to play for in the near future, is Inter Miami, who, of course, I was going to say dog walked NYCFC, but of course I don't think they did. They definitely made the most of their chances, though, especially at the end. I was looking at some of these goal tallies because, yes, Miami's Argentine Gold's video game numbers are insane, right?
Argentine Gold. Jesus Christ. What?
Yes.
That's awesome.
His numbers are insane, right? But
right.
There was a before the game started, Messi was at minus 225 to score, right? And Bet365 did this promo where they boosted it to plus 100, and I was like, this is the biggest bait I've ever seen. I did not take that boost. My model said that Messi's most fair odds against this NYC team was plus 200, so I was like, Bet365, you're going to have to offer a bit more than that, right? And sure enough, in a game where Miami scored 5, Messi did not score. And we look at other teams, right, with their players that, the marquee players that don't score, who ends up turning up for them? Well, Tadeo Allende had 19 goals in Major League Soccer. And I think on any other team, that is immense, right? That is amazing. And there was a time where I was like, man, I don't know if I like this team with a one Diego Gomez or not. He was a left winger now at Brighton, right? And I think I like Tadeo Allende more than God, what's his name? I just said it too.
Diego
Gomez, thank you. Allende is a lot of fun, guys, and he ended up being the true kind of talisman in this one. Outside of that, Talasco Segovia had 9 goals and 6 assists. He was a guy that was a usual starter, but in comes Baltasar Rodriguez, and now he's the starter, right? Outside of that, you have a guy in like Matteo Silvetti who benches Suarez, and I really thought, this is where the implosion is going to come from, right? Because if I'm Suarez, why are you benching me for this kid, right? But this kid is so energetic. He is just. I think this Miami team changed with him in there, because he gives Miami that willingness to kind of to go and press the ball a bit more, because Lord knows Luis Suarez is not going to go and press against a 5-man back line, right? And so I really do like how Silvetti has allowed Miami this different shape, and of course we kind of see Messi operating more as a false 9. Which is very cool. We get center forward Messi. If you were there for those days, you were there. Those are some special times. I really do think that's his best position there as a false 9. But it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you can guard Messi, but guess what? He's gonna find Allende. He's gonna find Silvetti, and those guys are willing runners. They are supported by a rather. For as much as I give Vancouver the plaudits for their backline, Miami's is a lot more flashier, right? You got Alba, you got Falcone, Allen. I guess maybe not the flashiest players, right? But in any case, like all of these players are earning a lot more than even Wygant, right? And then Ian Frey, who has come back from that initial leg break as well, really well. So there's something about Miami, man. They have figured it out just right when they needed to, in ways I didn't think they were going to. And of course, the video game numbers speak for themselves, right? 35 goals, 26 assists. They feel inevitable. Fellas, thoughts on Inter Miami?
I'll let Joss go first on this one.
They are inevitable. They're a meat grinder, man. They are. I mean, I know we said the entire East was a meat grinder, but Inter Miami were the meat grinder. Or I guess they are, especially when it comes to these playoffs. Like I said, I mean, the teams that ran into them, Nashville demolished Nashville. Cincinnati wasn't even close. And now a 5-1 win against NYCFC. What are we doing here? Are you serious? This might be the best run I've seen from a team to an MLS Cup in a while. There was never really a point in any of these games where I was like, "Ooh, Miami are kind of on the ropes here." No, it was a wash. And for this team, I think that this is like what they expect to do, especially in these games. This is what they've kind of been built for. Inter Miami this season, they have an expected goals of 2.02 per game. God. They have XG of 2 per game. What is that? Are you serious? That is unbelievable. You're just they're going to score. Messi, 61 goals and assists on the season. They're going to score. Messi is going to have an impact. In the last, it's crazy. It's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, they've just dialed it into another level. We know that they're good, but they've dialed it up another level. And on the defensive side of things, they've also been spectacular. In their last 5 games, they've allowed 1.0 XG or less. So they're generating on average over 2 goals a game and conceding on average in the last 4 or 5 games less than a goal. You're going to win those games. The numbers say you should win those games. And I love how with this Inter Miami team, I've been unable to keep up with how many Argentines they are generating to play with Messi. Do they have a lab? Is it the same lab that David Beckham extracts blood from young people so that he can keep looking the way he is? Maybe. I don't know.
Well, there is one wrinkle to that, because there was an Argentine fellow that came to Miami, and ever since they have gotten rid of him, they've been going crazy. And that is the one Federico Redondo. And I am never falling for an Argentine again. They have to prove it to me first. Because it feels like ever since they dropped him, the team has just done better, like in every way, shape, and form.
Completely agree. I thought you were talking about Gonzalo Higuain. So
that's crazy.
Well, he didn't come from a factory, bro. He came fucking from the thrift store, dude. Cigarette in hand as well.
Came straight out of a McDonald's.
Man, okay. McDonald's Higuain. That's the name of the pod.
I think I had an old tweet blow up because I think it might have been against the Rapids. Higuain was like yelling or something. He was mad. And I like quote tweeted with the video and said like when McDonald's says they're out of Big Macs or something like that, and got 100.
That's crazy.
100 odd likes or something like that. So it's just funny how many potential Argentines we could count on having ruined this Miami side. But yeah, for me, I mean, I'm kind of rambling here because I'm just in awe of how good Miami have been. We're in his. I don't think it's going to stop. You know, I mean, I know Alba's retiring. I know Busquets is retiring, but like, they just keep finding guys. I mean, all you really have to do is approach any young player and say, "Hey, do you want to play with Messi before he retires?" Who's going to say no to that? Cristiano Ronaldo Jr. Maybe.
No, he would say yes.
I mean, right. So I don't know. I've just been really. It's really impressive. They are the meat grinder of the East. And in big games, they've shown it.
Daniel?
Something that Miami has done so well for the majority of the year, and they've really cranked up the pressure on, is that they don't give themselves many tough chances to score. And when they do, they have a guy like Lionel Messi to take those chances. They are so good at baiting presses to create space for their wingers and their strikers and Jordi Alba, and on that very, very, very rare and terrifying occasion, Wigan. Like it is impressive. I don't know if there's certainly not a better team in Major League Soccer at doing that right now. They might be the best team in the entire CONCACAF at doing that, and it's all because they feed a guy in Lionel Messi all over the pitch because he's dropping everywhere, and he can make every single pass at any angle. And there's just so few players in the world right now that can do that. So it makes it so hard to defend if you're a team that wants to play a fast-paced, high-pressure game, similar to what NYCFC does, similar to what the Vancouver Whitecaps do, similar to what San Diego does. It just makes it so hard to beat because at all times they always have runners. And there's always that midfield option that Messi can give it off to, or he can just pivot because he plays double most of the game. At least it's the way he plays. He always has two options. He always drops back into that spot, and he's always finding the right pass. And that's why you see a game where Jordi Alba has 2 assists. Tadio Allende, every opportunity that he had outside of that header was a relatively easy chance you expect a guy like that to finish. And he picked the absolute right time to find his form. Oh my God. Like, these guys are just mauling people. And it feels like they also finally have their back line in a decent position for the first time in 3 years since they've had Lionel Messi. It feels like they finally got their goalkeeper situation figured out for the first time since that half season we thought Drake Callender was good. So, this Inter Miami team is just, it's similar to what Josh said. It's just an awe, but it's because you just don't see a whole lot of teams that can play like this in Major League Soccer right now. So regardless of who they're up against, they always have the ability to score 5 goals a game. And it's just so rare and it's scary. Like, I don't even know how you game plan for that. Now, that's why they don't pay me to coach. Although if we go to Montreal, we'll figure it out. I'll put my FIFA tactics to good work. But yeah, no, that's really all I got is just how good they are at breaking these presses, and they bait it. That's what's so impressive. Like they are actively baiting teams to press them in certain situations so they can break you. And that just takes so much balls in Lionel Messi.
Now, fellas, I said it right. They feel inevitable, and it's tough because I think in everyone's hearts, Miami is in there winning that championship, right? Like it's theirs to lose at this point. So
that's my brain. That's my brain, not my heart.
Well, deep down, somewhere inside of you, you kind of it's like it's like when the sun comes up, you know, like you don't really gotta think about it. Maybe that's where some people are with Miami, right? But for me, like I am, and I think everyone. No, you're right. Everyone knows Miami might win this, right? But everyone wants Vancouver to pull it off, right? Is that the sentiment here?
Yeah. Team of destiny, baby.
And I can't help but feel that Miami are the true team of destiny. But man, if there was ever a time for the soccer gods to smile once more on the Vancouver Whitecaps, because there was time when LAFC like if this was a Miami LAFC final, I'm thinking Miami, right? The fact that it's Vancouver, I think Vancouver was the best option out of the West for this final. I think they are the best Western Conference opponent Miami could have had, because it really does make it 50-50. I mean, there's a draw as well, right? Take the draw out. It feels like this could go either way, right? I'm curious to know how you guys see this game, because I would hate for it to be the naive Vancouver Whitecaps think they can play their game and then get crushed like New York City did, right? I would much rather believe, if New York City can put up because Cincinnati did not put up a fight. I think Cincinnati just keeled over, right? That was disappointing, especially at home. NYCFC had fight, and if only they had their true attacking trio, if only they had the midfield that they wanted, because they showed up banged up and still had some dogs, still had some grit. And it's why that 5-1, it just won't sit well with me. In the future, we'll look back on it. It'll be a funny note here, especially a game that's 5-1 and Messi didn't score a single one of the 5, right? Fuck you, right. Bet 365. This is. I'm gonna go to you guys. What is the storyline here? How do you guys see this one going? I'm gonna go to Daniel first.
So, David Beckham has said time and time again, they win Leagues Cup, said it was a good building block to win an MLS Cup. Wins the Supporter Shield, says it's something that they can build on to win an MLS Cup. His ultimate goal was to win an MLS Cup. That's what they preach in the locker room. That's what these guys set out to do this year whenever they put on the chalkboard their goals for 2025. But the Vancouver motherfucking Whitecaps have a guy who not only played against Messi multiple times when they were both in their prime, has had multiple occasions where a Thomas Mueller-led team has beaten up on a Lionel Messi-led team. And I think a lot of that is discipline, which is something that the Vancouver Whitecaps are, before Thomas Mueller, very good at being. They're very disciplined. So what I see here is you're going to have your typical dog and pony show. They're going to try to bait Vancouver. And I think what it's going to come down to is how well can Thomas Mueller, who's seen this for years now, how well can he have his team prepared, and how well can he cue them when to press and when to not press? And that will ultimately make or break this game, because I don't want Vancouver to play any differently than they currently do. I want them to still be high tempo. I still want them to crash the box like crazy. I still want them to be as aggressive as they've been all season. That's what's made them successful, so I don't want them to go away from that. As long as they're smart about it and they're communicating on the pitch and they're not getting confused, and prior to the game, they know who to look for and what to listen to when it comes down to when they should and shouldn't press. I absolutely believe this is a game that the Vancouver Whitecaps can win. The only thing that scares me about the Vancouver Whitecaps is this the longest travel point in the entire Major League Soccer, Vancouver to Miami?
Might be.
That's scary because you're getting on a plane. You're setting yourself back 4 hours because they're on Pacific time, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you're setting yourself back 4 hours playing in a. I mean, I was just at Miami Stadium like 2 weeks ago. It is a dinky stadium where the entire fan base, it's like built up like almost in a straight line, and they're just down on top of you. Like that's an intimidating atmosphere. And you're playing against a really, really good team. And we've seen this Vancouver team in very intimidating atmospheres fold. But they didn't have Thomas Mueller. And they didn't have that disciplined presence. So, honestly, I like Vancouver in this game. And if they're going to win it, they're going to win it on their wings. They're going to win it by being smart with their press.
Joss, I have some to add, but...
Damn, I don't know if I can beat that, dude. What else is there to say, dude? Golly, that was a great... I think that was a great summation of what we can expect to see from this game. I think from this game, it's going to be dicey. I really do. Jesper Sorensen has coached his team well enough to not stray from the Vancouver style of play that we're so accustomed to. And I think that the team having been in what I would consider to be a harsher atmosphere in the CONCACAF Champions League final, they know what they need to not do, what they don't need to do. You know, Andres Cubas needs to not give the ball away every time he touches it, for example. He was really good against San Diego also, by the way. So shout out Andres Cubas. But this isn't exactly like I echo Daniel's point in that Vancouver, this isn't a Vancouver team that are maybe going to be too shy for the moment, shine away from the light. I actually do believe that we're not going to see like a repeat of the UEFA Champions League game in May where PSG absolutely dogged Inter Milan 5-0. I think it'll be cagey. I think it'll be dicey. And really it'll depend on the moments, the individual moments. And Miami have the guys that can capitalize better on individual moments. Like Lionel Messi or Sergio Busquets or Luis Suarez if he plays. Allende, right? Silvetti, just guys like that can absolutely change the game in a single moment. And they have no one better than Lionel Messi. There's no one better in the history of the sport than Leo Messi at doing that. And so that's why I think it'll probably be like a tight, maybe 1-0, 2-1 Inter Miami win, where it's an individual moment, a free kick, an assist that no one in the world saw except for the GOAT, a Luis Suarez insane finish, something like that. I just think that this Miami team have too much quality and they will get that MLS Cup.
I want to take us back to April 30th, 2025, leg 2 of the CONCACAF Champions Cup semifinal. Vancouver won on the road 3-1. Same matchup, Mascherano versus Sorensen, right? This was Miami's lineup. You had Oscar Ustari, no longer the starter. So Oscar Bench-y. Sorry.
I get it. I'm there.
Jordi Alba, Noah Allen, Maxi Falcone, Marcelo Weigand. That's literally the back line they are using, that they used in the last match. In midfield, they had Sergio Busquets and Federico Redondo. Telasco Segovia, Messi, and Allende were those middle three. And then up top was Luis Suarez. So they upgraded at goalkeeper with Rocco Riasnovo, who has, done really well in the last few stints that he's had. He's really just solidified that spot. And then they got Rodrigo de Paul to improve on the overhyped Federico Redondo. And then, Telasco Segovia and Baltasar Rodriguez, both of them, I kind of see them as 1-1. And then between Suarez and Silvetti, I know Suarez is that moment's guy, but I think with Silvetti, they're going to be allowed to do more of their Miami antics, right? For Vancouver, they had Emmanuel Sabi, Brian White, Pedro Vite, Andres Cubas, Sebastian Berhalter, Ali Ahmed. And then their defense, Eddie Ocampo, Tristan Blackman, Ranko Veselinovic, Tate Johnson, and then, of course, Yohei Takaoka. Outside of Tate Johnson, I think Laborda is going to start there, and then we get the Ralph Priso right next to Tristan Blackman. So Vancouver won 3-1, and I think they're going to look – both teams are going to look really hard at this game and try to – Miami for sure, to try and see – I wouldn't put too much weight on these games. They're two different teams, right? But Vancouver have done this before, guys, and I think I want to say I think they do it again. Maybe like a 1-1, and then we get extra time, and then in extra time, that's where we really get the lights, right? I think back to that LAFC and Philadelphia final where it was like the extra time was really showtime for those two teams, and I'm definitely excited for this one. This it's going to be a first ever MLS Cup time champion. So both franchises will get a will get a shot at their first, and that's kind of, isn't that just so freaking cool, dude? Isn't, like, man, this was a damn good year for MLS, man. And a great year to start the podcast as well. But any other thoughts on this one, fellas, before we kind of wrap it up? I'm just super excited, really.
Do you guys know how I always preemptively make excuses about referees in Inter Miami?
Sure.
I'm thinking it's Jordi Alba's last game ever outside of his occasional charity game. It's Sergio Busquets' last game ever outside of his occasional charity game. Boys, I think Inter Miami's going to get some calls. What are the odds you guys think we see a fight on Saturday? I want it so bad. Give me all the passion.
I think pretty high.
I just want to see the most possible passion output ever this game.
The fight comes after Miami lose.
And who's starting the fight?
Javier Mascherano.
They don't got like a... Oh, you think it's going to be a manager fight? Oh, hell yeah.
He's going to rush the field and punch someone or something.
Drop kick Brian White for being an American and the Argentinian.
Yes. Or even Matthias Laborda. I think he's from Uruguay, right? Fact checking.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, there you go. There's the natural rivalry there. Go and attack the Uruguayan guy.
I'm thinking we see a matchup of Falcon versus Cubas. That's what I want to see. I want to see them. I want to see them go at it.
Oh, nice.
Give me Messi and Ralph Priso, bro.
Messi does always find his way in the middle of scrums, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, dude.
He's got to be a little asshole. Like, he's just saying the most dickhead shit out there.
Yeah, I don't think, and he doesn't even know he's saying it. It's like not intentional,
Like a Miazga Diego Lainez moment.
Ooh,
I forgot about that.
Who would be the guy to do that to Messi though? Like,
dude,
who's like towering on the Whitecaps? Whitecaps players.
I can see Tristan Blackman doing it. He comes back from suspension, doesn't he?
Yes, he'll be in there. It says here that one of the tallest guys is Ryan Elumi, 6'1". Oh, and Brian White, 6'1" as well. There you go.
Brian White would totally do it. He's a dog.
He's New Jersey through and through, man.
He needs to score and then run up and do it.
Oh, hell yeah. That would be awesome. We haven't had that, dramatic Inter Miami moment yet where, they tossed Brad Guzan into the net. We're just waiting. It's bottled up.
I mean, Leagues Cup. You see how they were in Leagues Cup? They got pissed at Seattle. That's what I mean. It's going to come after another loss. Man. Fellas. Again, to all the listeners, make sure you guys tune in. Live watch along. Just put us on in the background. turn down Taylor Twellman and Jake Ziven. You don't need to be hearing them. You need to be hearing Outside the Box, the live watch along. Jeremy will be there as well. I'm thinking maybe some drinking games on deck as well. Drink every time Messi takes a shot.
Absolutely.
That'll be
shot for shot.
Shot for shot. That'll be a fun one to brainstorm up until the final. But any other thoughts, fellas? Or are we ready to wrap this one up?
I think we're good to wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. Daniel, where can they find you?
You can find me on X, the everything app, at Vox Pro MLS. You'll see me on there as Major League Shill. I've had a lot of different sport takes lately. I don't know. I'm trying to branch out there, get more people into soccer. So we'll see how that works out.
Mr. Bathtub, where can they find you?
You can find me on X, the everything app, at Major League Shill 2. I've been making a lot of really bad sports takes and passing them off as Daniel's. So I'm sending hate his way.
Hell yeah.
And don't you have like a Kansas City thing you do? Isn't that like the Cauldron or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. If you're into the beautiful city of Kansas City, specifically soccer within Kansas City, or just soccer in general, check out at Off to See the Wizards. It's 3 of us. We love the sport and we love to have fun with it, especially because our team was not very good this year. So we had to find some enjoyment, and that just came from this little project we've been doing. So check us out there. Also, we're going to be running the Cauldron social media this year, the official supporters group for Sporting KC. So we'll be on there too. Check us out.
Beautiful. I will be sure to do so, as I do every day, for that sweet KC content. Can't get enough of it. You can find me at Juanners715 on Twitter, at Juanners.bsky.social. Follow Box State Footy. Go to boxstatefooty.com. I dropped a new Summit article if you're into the Denver Summit FC in all Colorado soccer as a whole, as I'm sure you are well aware of what this channel is, but check that out at Box State Footy on all socials. And yeah, be there or be square at the live watch along. We're going to go live 30 minutes before the game and should be a great time. Truly this final, man, it's I'm ready for it. I'm so ready for it.
It's going to be fun.
Be well, stay safe, and we will catch you when we catch you. Bye-bye.